I know you literally just said that you don't have this, but do you feel like there's any area in your life where there's a gray zone? Like, do you feel like with work or with a friendship or with cooking or like is there anything that you're like, it could work out, could not, don't really care?
I actually think a lot of things, but they're always things I don't have control over. Like, I don't feel like I put a lot of expectations on something somebody else is planning, or if I have no...
That's also interesting because, like, I agree, and I don't mean to, like, just continue to challenge you and fight you on it.
I opened this door!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Today I Am podcast. I'm Taylor, here with Megan and Sam.
We're excited to share stories from our lives, past and present, and talk through the lessons we've learned along the way.
It's all about reflection, not perfection. We're here to keep it real, create a space for open and honest conversations, and build a community. So grab a seat,
get comfy,
and join us each week as we figure out who we are today,
together. It's been like weirdly like attached the last couple days.
Oh, I wonder why. She's like, oh, baby's coming.
I know, it's like weird. Like she like follows me into the bathroom and stuff and like lays at my feet and whatever. I'm like,
she's like, is it happening?
Literally. She's like, what's going on?
Do I need to get in the car and drive us to the airport? She's like, I will take us wherever we need to go on a plane.
She's like, I will take you as far as the airport and no further.
The rest of the way I figured, well, she takes your hand with you. She's getting you to.
Yeah. She's like, I know Dad's at the airport.
Yeah. Okay, well that shows where my head's at. So, hey, do you need a vacation? Or are you just prepping for your flight?
Maybe I'm like, thinking about my flight soon.
Probably.
I don't know. I've also booked a lot of flights this week, so maybe also that.
Life of an EA.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's doing things like this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so cute.
It is cute. And he is kicking right now. So.
Oh yeah, she feels him then.
She knows. Maybe your solo child days are real
long gone, sister.
I was on a meeting today and someone was like, is she so excited to be a big sister? And I was like,
no.
We'll see.
She might lick the baby's face a bunch, but...
Oh, I just know there's going to be so much tongue and eyeball action. I just have to accept it, I think.
Do you want to know something crazy that I just clicked for me as I was saying that about Mayday and the baby and everything? By the time this episode is out, your baby will be here no matter what.
I know. I was thinking about that with what do I want to do updates on? And I was like, I might give a little update on the latest news, whatever. And then I was like, but also I'm going to have to be like, but don't give me advice because it's already done.
Yeah, long one actually.
Yeah. No, I think this comes out end of June. So yeah, we're going to have a baby by the time people are actually watching this.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Little baby will be here.
Baby Lake.
Yeah. Andrew told me he texted, or he was wishing, I don't know, so I think it was something with work or something like that.
Okay.
And then he said that he sent you a message and it was can't wait for baby Cormandy, bracket Lake Superior. And I was I'm glad you said that.
That's also funny because no one else will get it because I haven't really shared that.
He said he sent it to you.
Well, it's know what I mean? If someone sees it or whatever, if there's jokes
They're
about
well, that's a weird joke. But
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Had to be there.
Yeah.
Bam. How was everyone's week?
Well, I mean, I'll just quickly say, so I just found out that I'm going to have a C-section. And I just wanted to, say something about it because, like we just said, the baby will already be here. I'll have already had the C-section by the time this episode is out. Sorry to break the illusion, but we're recording early for this reason.
Yep.
Obviously.
And so, not that I'm send me C-section advice or whatever, but I just want to say that I had a lot of feelings about it, especially when I first found out of a little bit of disappointment that it wasn't going to be the experience of a vaginal labor and that's what I'd planned for. And then I also just had a lot of guilt about there were a few options we were given to try still, but they came with some risks that we aren't willing to take. But that I was having a lot of guilt about not trying for a natural birth or whatever. And so I just want to say if anybody's in the situation, it's so normal to have some of those feelings of disappointment or fear or whatever if you do end up having to have a C-section. But at the end of the day, and where I've come to already, and I know I'm going to come to this even more once the baby's actually here, is in a year I'm not going to care how they got here.
No.
In a year I'm
not the minute your baby's here, you're going to be
totally. And
okay.
I literally driving home from the appointment that I found out I was going to have a C-section, I drove past, there's like townhouses right as you come into our neighborhood. And there was a boy and his mom outside, and the boy was probably like 7 or something. And he was taking pictures of the mom. But just the way that it was happening, it just seemed clear that it was like, he had asked to do it, and the mom was like, sure, fine, take a picture of me. And she's
mom
like,
wasn't like, okay, now you have to take photos of me.
she's yeah, like it wasn't like, oh, take this picture or something.
Yeah.
Like she's standing there being like, okay,
not even
whatever.
looking.
Yeah, but it was just like this like cute little moment, and I was like, yeah, when he's that age, I'm never even gonna think about like, oh, the recovery for C-section was so different, or oh, I planned this way and this thing happened or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I just was like, it was just such a like serendipitous moment of I just literally felt this. I was like having a little moment of being like, I'm upset about this, and then I turned the corner to drive home, and that's happening, and I was like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter.
Totally.
So anyways, it's not really an update for my week, but just wanted to say that.
I think that's just like those feelings are so valid, and I think we've talked about this all a million times of like there's so much unknown and so much you can't control in pregnancy and labor and being a parent and all of the things that come with that. And so it's like very, very valid that, you know, you maybe had an idea of like what your labor was going to look like, and now it's changing. And while that's okay and all you truly care about is having your healthy baby here, it's still like very normal and very valid that you're like, oh man, like, but I thought it was going to go this way. So
yeah, well, and like my initial reaction when I was like kind of upset about it was like, we've obviously had quite the journey to get here already. And my initial was like, oh, this is like another experience that we're robbed of just like having the true labor experience. And then I was like, well, but also if we hadn't had a C-section, I would have never had the experience of having a C-section. And like, not that everyone's out there wishing like, please, I want one. Perhaps.
Sam.
But like, it's the same as like when somebody has a second child and they have the same gender as their first child, and people are like, oh, do you wish you'd had a girl? Do you wish you would have had a boy? And it's like, well, then I would have never experienced having 2 boys or having 2 girls or whatever. So it's kind of like, not to be like, well, you're gonna miss out on something either way, but like it kind of is. So it's like, well, get over it.
Your experience is going to be your experience, and like it's all you're going to know for this experience. And so you know, like it's easy to compare and be like, oh, well, what would it have been like? But you're not actually going to really know that because it's different for everything. So whatever this experience is going to be it's yours, and
it's what's meant to happen, which I really believe. Like I'm such a like fate person and whatever that it's like, yeah, this is just how our baby's meant to come, and he's supposed to be in this position, and like
like how great that we're in a place like in the times of like they can see. Sorry, I don't know if you're wanting to say that he's...
Oh, yeah, he's breached.
Okay, I figured you didn't care, but I was like, wait a minute, you didn't say that. Yeah. But, like, that they can see that and be like, okay, like, this is our plan of action or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But again, not to, like, negate how you're feeling of being like...
No, totally. And that's, like, how I feel. And, like, there's obviously still some of those feelings that I'm still a little bit like, oh, I still need to wrap my head around this a little bit. But I honestly feel... so much at peace. Also, I'm sure people hearing that he's breached are like, no, he can flip still, or oh, there's things you can do. We've decided that like we're not taking the actions that are offered to us for a million different reasons of like the exact situation we're in. There are some extra risks with like the options we've been given that we're not willing to take, whatever. So like there also may be people who find out their baby's breached and do all those things and they flip and it's great and they can do a natural birth.
Yeah.
We don't need to get into it, but it's not an option. And also, again, like I said, by the time this episode's out, the C-section will have happened. The baby will be here. So if you have an opinion about it, doesn't really matter.
Go reference our opinions episode. Enjoy there. Literally.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
thanks for sharing.
anyways, so that's my update.
I don't have much. There is not much. I have become a little garden girly.
Love.
Fun.
Tyler for Mother's Day got me like a little standing,
Like a raised
like
garden.
a raised garden bed.
Nice.
And I truly did like basically the most minimal effort you could ever do when doing. I was like, I Googled what goes well together in a small planter box.
Perfect.
And then it gave me a bunch of stuff. So I picked lettuce. I picked marigolds. I picked basil.
Yes.
And carrots. So apparently they all go well together. And and it's like very satisfying seeing our like we already have little
Did you do
little
all of
babies.
them from seed?
Yeah.
Whoa, look
All
at
from
you.
seed.
Girly.
And then all we did was like, because Tyler, I keep saying we because we were kind of doing it together. We got the seeds, read the back of the package, and it was like, put them this far in, this much apart, and we were
And
like,
you're like-
okay. And we probably only should have put one seed in. No, we were like covering it back up, watering it, and now our lettuce is coming through, which is so fun. It's like very satisfying. You're like, oh look, my little babies are coming up.
Yeah.
But there's like a lot already, so
Whatever.
learning curve there.
Also, you're like, I did the bare minimum. No, I'll tell you what the bare minimum is. I wanted to plant basil this year,
Mhm.
and I got a big pot that I'm planting it in, and I bought basil that's already a plant and just put it
and
in
you're
there.
like, planted it.
And then I'm like, it'll grow bigger. So you did more than the bare minimum.
I mean, yeah.
You've both done more than myself, so really, all stars over here.
Well, and so I planted I did the carrots and the basil, and then Tyler, when I was doing that, did the lettuce and the marigolds. The only things that have come up are the lettuce and the marigolds. So then I was like, did I do something wrong? Whatever. And then we actually talked to your sister, and I was like, Kate, did I do something wrong? She's like, no, carrots and basil just take like a lot longer. And I was like, okay, because I was starting to be like, why haven't mine come up yet?
I love that this is a competition
I
in
was
your
just
house
gonna
now,
say.
and I fully envision you and Ty sitting there and Ty being like, well, should have planted them better.
Well, Ty said to me, he's like, I went and watered them the other day, and he's like, I was really looking to see if any of yours came out, but they're not there. I'm like, yeah.
Ty overnight is like replanting some of the lettuce where the carrots are. He's like, look, there's sprouts.
Yeah, it comes up as lettuce. I'm like, great.
He's going to the like store and buying basil plants and putting it in. He's like, look what happened overnight.
He's like, look, a full carrot now came out.
When you're on your work trip,
Yeah.
he's just planting.
Wow, the garden all of a sudden became so full.
Yeah.
Love that.
It is fun. I've done bare minimum research, but it's just like fun to have a little,
Totally.
like, not project.
Something to
kind
like
of.
nurture almost.
But
That's
yeah.
not a human.
Yeah. Yeah, because I do enough of that.
You're like, I'm good on that front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have an update?
Well, so my update kind of comes into my episode topic that got me to where, well, I've wanted to talk about this probably all of, like, since we started recording season 2, but it's
Can I
like,
ask a question first?
Yeah.
Did you just get your eyebrows tinted?
no, I colored them today.
Oh, they look really good.
Awesome, thanks.
Yeah.
They need desperately to be done, so I was really compensating for them.
No,
No, they look
good.
really good.
Thank you.
Sorry.
No, all good. But lately I've just been like thinking a lot around expectations. So we're gonna talk about that today.
I'm fighting the urge to do a little sing song right now because I feel like I do that every time you guys say something. I'm like,
When I say the title, you can
Okay, perfect.
start thinking. This is a
no, because I can't even think about
Get
it. It needs
to-
to like come out
You're right.
natural.
Well, I'll give you a little pause there to see if anything comes to mind.
Sounds good.
But so something happened this week, and I had a moment where I had to check myself, and I was like, "Did you really overreact to something?"
Never. The answer is
The answer is no.
never.
I simply don't actually overreact. I'm a very calm, cool, collected human.
Insert a picture of each of our husbands' faces.
Literally, if any of our husbands heard us say that
Oh,
about ourselves,
Yeah, Andrew already would have been.
I almost just said Tyler would be rolling in his grave.
No, knock on wood. Take that back.
Like, yeah. Anyways.
But so I have what I would consider high expectations for customer service, and I know that I have high
Oh
expectations.
God, Sam sent another long,
Oh, no.
strongly worded email.
Nope, there's no.
Well, okay, but also I'm going to challenge you because you literally 2 episodes ago got the wrong glasses and are like, nah, that's on me.
Yeah, but that had nothing to do with customer service. That was with product. Very different. The person that I called on the phone was lovely. I had no issues with how she handled the situation. I messed up.
Okay.
Well, I don't think
and
you
also,
did, but
actually,
okay.
to solve that whole mystery, if anybody listened to our episode, I can't even remember what episode it was. I actually love my transition sunglasses.
We love that for you.
Yeah, I actually, as somebody who needs prescription glasses day to day, love being able to wear them inside and outside. And inside, I'm not in a like tinted world because they untint. So honestly, transitions are the vibe. I was wrong. So that was the world saying you need these.
Great.
I didn't know. But anyways, nothing to do with the customer service person.
Okay.
So it's something I know I have, and I don't know if it's because I worked in customer service for so long, and I feel like if I'm paying for something or something like that, I should have I don't know. I have high expectations for what customer service is.
Mm-hmm.
This almost goes against what I'm about to say, because
She's like, actually, I don't care at all. Treat me like garbage.
Actually, my super exciting update is I picked up my wedding dress this week. But after I picked up my wedding dress this week, I was having some, like, I was like, okay, what do I want to do for, like, facials? I'm starting to think of, like, my skin treatments I want to do for myself leading up to my wedding. We're about 2 months out right now. And so I had submitted, like, an online inquiry to this one place that's in Airdrie that had some, like, better pricing because you'd get it done from students, stuff like that. So I was just looking at my options. So I did that at, like, probably 9 p.m. one night. So they're not open. They're not getting my message. Whatever. Great. We do not expect a response. The next day, I am in full back-to-back work meetings, and my personal phone will not stop.
Like ringing?
Both.
Like a phone call?
Ringing, text messages, the most ridiculous amount of reach out I have ever had. This person, I counted because I replied to them with the amount of messages they sent me 17 text messages and 2 phone calls in a matter of probably an hour and a half. 17. Sending me pictures of, like, how people's results are, asking if they have the right number, continuing to ask me if I want to book an appointment, asking me again if they have the right name, asking me this. Like, it was harassment in my mind. So I finally replied. I wanted to reply something incredibly bitchy, and then I was like, okay, let's be a little smarter about how we word this. So my response to them, the text message person, was and it was multiple people from the same company signing off. Like, blah, 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 from Heather. Blah, blah,
in
blah,
the
blah,
text?
from Claire. Yes. Like, different team members at this company included, like, it was ridiculous.
They just have one company phone. They're like, from Heather. Okay, now you try to reach her.
Yeah, literally.
Like,
and then I finally replied and I was like, hi there. I am in work meetings and you sending me 17 messages does not make me want to book with you, period. What do? Oh, sorry. The next day, 15 more text messages. And I'm, like, ready to lose it. And so I actually ignored those 15. I didn't reply at all because, again, it was a work day. Like, people.
Oh, I would have started sending. Also, as a brand, if you're going to reach out to me by text, you need to have an easy unsubscribe option.
Literally.
That's federal law. But I would have, like, gone all in.
So, lovely you said that because then yesterday, so this is, like, day 3 of them harassing my phone. Why I didn't just block the number beyond me. But at this point, I'm like, I need justice. I need a final word here. And they did not reply to this last message, but I literally said... And I started out with respectfully.
No. You know whatever's coming
I was just going to say, you know when respectfully.
I was like, I need you to understand how annoyed I am. Mm-hmm. I literally put, and I can't remember which word, and it's on the phone we're recording on, so I can't read it out. I literally was like, respectfully, your 27 total messages have not made me want to proceed with your company, nor will I recommend it to anybody, nor will I be using your products or facilities. Please stop messaging me. This is strictly harassment. And I just left it at that. I was like,
and
I'm
done. Putting it on my podcast.
I'm not saying company name because I'm not going to be that big of a Karen, but DM if you want to know, because let me tell you, do not sign up with them. Pissed. So anyways, to circle that back to the point of this, I definitely have high expectations of customer service to the point where I think that actually annoyed me more because I have such specific expectations on customer service.
Yeah.
Well, and it's also just like to
Harassment.
be normal. Like, but in any customer service like world, it's like just be a normal person. And so it's like, it also would have been annoying if you just never heard from them.
Yes.
So it's like, but it's like the two extremes. Yeah, it's like just be normal.
You know what?
Send me 1. Send me 3 even.
Yeah, you know what?
And
Follow up in 2 days if I haven't responded.
That's crazy. More than 3 is crazy.
27
in total between 2 days.
Can I also tell a really quick customer service story also that actually happened to me before we get into your actual topic? This is very short, but we went camping this weekend, and on our way out, we just grabbed McDonald's breakfast. And Anthony was getting gas, and the drive-through line was insanely long. And so I was like, well, I'll just walk and just go inside. Guess how long we waited for our food at McDonald's?
22. Were you at the one near our houses?
We were in...
Yeah.
12 minutes.
I was inside that McDonald's for 35 minutes. I was like, we could have gone to a restaurant and gotten food by this point. People were acting psychotic. There was people from the drive-thru coming in and being like, you didn't give me the right order. I'm missing this, this, and this. There was none of the machines, because you know how you order on a screen now? None of the machines were printing receipts, so nobody had a receipt. So then when orders were coming up, they were having to call it out by item because no one knew what number they were. There was people's orders coming up on the screen and then just disappearing. So then they were being like, hey, I think this was my number, but it just went away and I haven't gotten my stuff yet. There was people who were ordering like just coffees who were there for like 20 minutes. So then they were going up and being like, it is a coffee. So then those people were getting bumped ahead of people because they were like, I'll just get it for you right now. Oh my God, it was crazy. They didn't have change for anyone who was paying by cash. Every single time somebody was trying to pay by cash, they would have to, the girl up there, I felt so bad for her. She's like 15. She would have to
Worst
go
day
get
ever.
the manager. He would have to come up, and then they were like going to the back room to like get money from like the safe or whatever. It was like
I wonder
crazy.
why they were so slow. I mean,
It was
process issues.
psychotic. And so in the same way, I am usually like, whatever, you're all teenagers, like you're doing your best, perhaps, or if not, whatever. But when I finally got my food, I literally was like, I hope you have a good day. I was like so freaking pissed. This is so mean. I literally said, I hope you have a good day, but everyone that works here is bad at their job, and walked out. I was like, this is insanity.
Like, yeah, that's a really long time. I said 12 minutes thinking that that was a long time.
I have had a similar experience at
That
McDonald's.
do not ever go to it.
Which one was it, sorry?
The one in Cooper's. Sorry. Like, it's horrible. I was to the point where I was like, do I literally write a review being like, don't ever go to this McDonald's?
If you look on Google, there already is a bunch of reviews that say
It's
that.
insane. I don't know why it's so bad.
See, yeah.
I don't think I've gone to that one. Like, I have, but just not like often enough to
And
notice.
seriously, I got my food and I said that and I just walked out. I got like a drink that needed a straw, and I heard the girl be like, your straw. And I was like, I don't care. I'll figure it out. I can't even deal with this. And then I got outside and I was like, I didn't even look in the bag. There's a 0% chance from this McDonald's that we got the right food. We actually did, but that is the first time, literally ever, that has happened.
Oh yeah,
that I've gotten
something
the right
time.
Yeah, it is like crazy.
I'm gonna change my topic to just we're reviewing companies today.
Yeah, so sorry. It's McDonald's, so I feel fine. Like, they're a $1 billion company, they'll be fine. But seriously, it was horrible.
Well, I find too, and this is why I was not a good, like, I have been in different sales roles, whether it was something as simple as like waitressing and like being obviously encouraged to upsell like gravies and stuff like that. And even like when I worked.
Would you like gravy with that?
But like literally.
Yeah.
And like also same with like when I was in more of a sales role with regards to like selling product. I am the worst upsell person because I actually effing hate feeling like I am being scammed and or being shoved something down. Like, wow, that was just simply having something shoved down my throat that I did not ask for, which still does not sound great.
Okay, well, but that's at least a saying.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I'm still acknowledging that didn't sound right.
I thought that's what you were going to say. That's why I laughed, and then you still said it, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe she was.
No, I was going to say completely different, not safe for a pod. Something was going to come out of my mouth there.
Quick and easy, baby.
Yeah.
Andrew, I told him that was on the pod, and he was like, yeah, and I still stand by it. And I was, even after I told him how you roasted me, so. Still going on the tombstone, guys.
The tombstone. That is the crazy part.
Honestly, the fact that I'm probably not going to have a tombstone is probably the crazy
You're
thing.
not going to have it?
I don't know.
I just meant. Okay, never mind. I don't care if you have a tombstone or not. I thought you were meaning like, I'm not gonna
die.
Yeah.
I am immortal. But anyways, today what I want to talk about is
let's bring it back.
and where I'm going with all of this is today I am challenging my expectations.
Yeah.
And I can't think of two.
It wasn't a song, but it felt like it needed it.
I love it. And I love the energy on the other side of the couch here. But I feel like the reason I want to is because there's a lot of big events coming up, and honestly, I love both of you, and to the point where I feel comfortable with you challenging my expectations.
You know we will.
I'm confident I got the right two here. But just like with my wedding coming up, and with how I've like reacting to certain things lately, and like something as simple as customer service, just like setting me on a like vindictive spiral that was so unnecessary. Is I've noticed a common denominator in all of it, and it's a lot around like expectations that I have. And so there's two different like pendulum swings we go with, which is like the customer service eyes, where I have really high expectations on how I should be serviced by customer service. If I am paying $5 for a shitty McDonald's burger, I want good McDonald's service. Like, give me at least the bare minimum of not making me hate my experience.
Well, if you're gonna be a fast food restaurant, don't take almost 40 minutes to give me a hash brown. Like,
yeah, correct. And like, same thing of, I don't want you to be pushing it in my face. I don't trust somebody who's going to be super pushy. I immediately think your motives are wrong. So like stuff like that on the one side of it.
She's like, I immediately think you're bad to your core.
Yeah.
But like kind of, if you feel okay trying to push stuff on me that is not in my best interest, I don't think you're a good person. Even if it's you doing your
Was
job.
it in your best interest? You don't know that.
I don't, but I'm just saying, they don't know. They have no idea, and they're sending me pictures of 1,700 services.
Yes, you're fine.
And harassing me and saying, do you want this? Do I have the right number? Like, that annoys me.
Yes.
And so that's like one side of it, of like high expectations that I feel like I have in certain situations. Another example of that is, and Andrew makes fun of me for it all the time, I have expectations that if we make plans, you're at least going to communicate with me if you're not going to be on time.
Makes fun of you for that. What is the alternative?
Yeah.
being late.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. But like that's somewhere I
Don't
would
get
say
me
I have
started on the
high
late.
expectations is that I value my time. I expect you to value my time. A coworker today actually fully missed a meeting with me, and I was pissed because I was like, we set this time aside. My schedule is a little busy. You don't have a reason to be missing our meeting, so why'd you miss it, kind of thing.
Yeah. At least without like a heads up of
Exactly.
like, hey, this came up. Because that happens all the time.
Exactly.
But communicate that.
Well, I'm like, let me tell you, am I on time to everything? No, but I at least try and be like, hey, I'm leaving in 2, like, I'm sorry. Like, I at least want people to understand I'm acknowledging that I'm on my way. I'm gonna be there on time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be late, whatever.
It's like a respect thing.
It is. And so I have high expectations that, like, Andrew makes fun of me.
I don't even think that's high expectations. I think
That's just expectations, we can call
yeah,
it.
in my mind.
Well, and we are also on the same page in this one, so
Yeah.
I all feel passionately about that.
I will say though that I think that that's a good example of something that it just happens to be that we all feel the same.
Yeah.
But that is something that we all individually have a very clear expectation on. That, I mean, like, I disagree with this for the lateness because I feel so passionately about that. But it also is kind of that like what you're headed to of being like, oh, I need to challenge these sometimes is like, I do need to for myself sometimes with that or whatever. It's like, that's an expectation that I have that I haven't necessarily communicated
Yes.
to people.
Yes.
So there is like that little bit. I have a hard time saying that with lateness because that just feels like general rules of society.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
And that's so true with expectations is like, have you let the people know about that? Is that
Exactly.
something that like both parties are aware of?
which I will say in other things I'm very bad for in certain ways that I have these expectations in my mind
Oh, yeah.
that I've not communicated.
all the time, like over simple little things where like I plan out, oh, this is how this day is gonna go in my head. Bloop, 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 bloop. I have it all planned out, assuming Tyler just
I was gonna say
understands.
especially with like partner.
Always.
Yeah.
And then Tyler's like, what? Like you? And I'm like, oh no, I thought like we. And he's like, no, you did not tell me any of that. I'm like, I don't know. I just thought it was like we were on the same.
And in my
page.
mind, that's how I'm acting. But in reality, I'm like, "Ugh, okay, I guess we'll do that first.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, yeah. It's like, fine, you can go golfing before we do all the things I said we were going to do today in my mind.
Yeah.
Definitely that. So, like,
Anywho.
absolutely need to pair when you have an expectation. Figuring out how to communicate it.
Yes.
Definitely key.
Yeah.
Which I also, and like, same thing. But, like, yeah, it's as simple as if I tell people, like, okay, great, come over for 7. I don't expect every single person to walk through the door at 7 o'clock on the dot. But again, it's acknowledging, okay, hey, I'm actually not going to be there till 7:15. Great, at least I'm aware, still a little annoyed you didn't budget your time totally if it happens all the time. But, and so things like that on one side. And then on the other side, I feel like I lower my expectations a lot for things like how a day should go, events, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, and this is definitely something I will eventually work through with my therapist, but we got way too many things on the brain to start going down to this rabbit hole
My
yet.
list is far too long.
Like, I got therapy planned out for the next 3 years before we can tackle much more, but we're
Your therapist is watching this being like, yes.
She's like, okay.
But I find a lot of the time, and I can't think of like a moment in time when I started doing it, but I've learned, and it's almost a terrible thing I've taught myself, that if you lower your expectations, you can't be disappointed. And so with wedding stuff coming up, like I'm so excited for my wedding, but I also have caught myself a lot, especially as I get more into the detailed stuff right now, of like really oversimplifying certain things because I'm like, well, I don't want to have an expectation because I don't want to give people a chance to kind of
I think
not meet that expectation.
Have you feeling let down or
Exactly.
feeling like,
So then
yeah.
it sets, in my mind, the protective side is like, okay, well, if you just set a lower expectation, you're gonna love everything because you didn't expect it.
what's that saying? It's like under promise, over deliver
Exactly.
type thing.
Yeah. I think that's so fair, especially with wedding stuff. Like, I think it is very valid that you are feeling that way. I think because also there's a lot of stories of people having big expectations, and not that you shouldn't, but like, I think just like societal. Societal expectation is there's this narrative of like, your wedding is going to be the best day of your life.
Well, exactly.
You're going to look perfect. It's going to be the best you've ever looked. I also like, I know that Victoria Garrick, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yep.
Like, she specifically didn't want to do a first look with her husband because she's like, that's putting this expectation that he's going to see me and like fall to the ground and then I'm going to be the most gorgeous he's ever seen me
And
before.
then he's gonna
Whatever.
be like, oh, that's a nice dress.
And he's like, you look
Or
nice.
it's like, yeah, but, and she was also like, yeah, I also might look better, like my hair or something might look better on like a random date night. Like, I don't want to put this like whatever. So I think it's very valid for you to be like,
Protecting my expectations?
protective and also like in a positive way critical about what your expectations are for that day, of not being like, this has to be the best day of my life.
Yep.
Yeah.
However, I also think that like what I would challenge you on of it is like not making decisions trying to bring those expectations down in like a, oh, I don't want, well, I'm gonna call you out here, I don't want dinner to go long because people might get bored or something. Like, people are gonna have the time they're gonna have no matter what, and also that doesn't matter because it's about what you and Andrew feel during that day and like whatever. And so I think there's kind of like a little bit of a balance with wedding stuff specifically, but I also feel like for you, and sorry to like go right into the therapy side,
We're in it.
but it
Sorry,
doesn't
I opened the door.
really surprise me that you feel that way about events, because knowing like, and this is not to like put anybody on blast or anything, but just knowing like how your, like the role you play in your family and those sorts of things, it doesn't surprise me that you're like, let's not have a bunch of expectation when things are about you.
Yeah.
Because things are often not about you in a lot of those relationships. And so I feel like that's probably a big reason why you're like, okay, I'm gonna like temper my expectations of how other people are going to treat me on this day, or how other people are gonna show up for me.
Well, and it's funny you say that, because I definitely see that theme primarily in events that I do feel like are more for me. Like when it comes to my birthday time, especially because it's around Christmas, like I've had a lot of times where things don't work out because people have Christmas plans or Secret Santa's plan that weekend or something like that. And so then my expectations haven't been met. So then I'm like, well, you know what? Every year it's just easier to just not plan anything. If I do something fun, cool. And if not, then I'm not disappointed because I haven't created this narrative that I should be doing something fun.
Yeah.
So it's like little things like that is definitely the areas I notice. I like I said, I am a literal pendulum. Like I either have incredibly high expectations, or I like there's no chill in the middle, or I fully swing the other way where it's like I have lowered the bar so low so that I can be like, and everything, it met my expectations.
I know you literally just said that you don't have this, but do you feel like there's any area in your life where there's a gray zone? Like, do you feel like with work or with a friendship or with cooking or like some, like, is there anything that you're like, it could work out, could not, don't really care?
I actually think a lot of things, but they're always things I don't have control over. Like I don't feel like I put a lot of expectations on something somebody else is planning, or if I have no...
That's also interesting because like I agree, and I don't mean to like just continue to challenge you and fight you on it.
I open this door, do what you need, it's fun.
Well, it's just like, it's just interesting then to see what you think you have control over. Because like other people enjoying your wedding or something, you don't really have control over that. Or like,
I guess
you
we're
know,
in control
like,
in the event, like the control of the details of the event, I should specify. Not how other people perceive it, but like
I guess
what I
it's
get to
just
choose
interesting. And I'm not saying that you're right or wrong, but it's like, in reality, we don't have control over anything.
Oh yeah, nothing is
But so it's interesting to see that like you have one set of beliefs when you think you have control versus a very completely opposite when you don't. And then like what things fall into each of those categories.
Oh yeah. That's why my mind is always so chaotic, is because there is such a like little, if you want a little
Snapshot into your
snapshot
brain.
in my brain, that's exactly what you just said.
Do you feel like you have things that you're like in the gray about expectations? Because I feel like all of us are similar.
Yeah, I think I definitely do. I can't think of like an example though.
Well, so I
But
did
I'm
ask
sure
you
I
guys.
do.
Well, and so like one of my questions I wanted to ask you guys actually to like tag on to what you just asked is, so like we all three of us have kind of some bigger life things that have been happening. So mine we'll call wedding, yours we will call new parenthood coming into.
What do you mean? I don't know.
We'll
anything
call it
happening.
that.
We'll call it that. There's a lot of things that go into it, but I'm going to summarize it with that name. And then for you, it's like entering a new work stage between being a new mom
You're
and a new
making a
career.
face like, oh, what's changed in my life?
Yeah, I'm like, we're going to give, like, there's three very big things that we all have kind of gone, like, are going to go through in the next couple of months.
Yep. Yeah.
And so do you feel like in either of the, like, things I called out for you, do you guys feel like you just let your expectations kind of ride with what it is? Or do you feel like you have altered your expectations at any time to sort of make it more either, like, one way or the other?
I think this is
It's a
something I'm
really
not
good
really
question.
aware of about myself, which is like kind of interesting because as you've been talking about this, I'm like, I can't call something out of like, oh, I have super high expectations about this and I have really low. Like which is very interesting because I know I have expectations. I know that. But
it's also interesting because you're such a planner, which is why I feel like I do have really high expectations, is because I want to have this like clear picture. So not to say that again it's like right or wrong or anything, but I'm just I think it's honestly probably a good thing.
I was about to say, I actually think your mindset around it's probably like the healthier one that I need to go towards.
maybe.
Because I very much am acknowledging this episode, like I know I have a problem with expectations.
Right.
So if you don't feel like you put a lot of time and effort into thinking about them, that's probably healthy.
Yeah, I honestly don't, but I think I could probably do with maybe a little bit more of like just active thinking about that for myself of like, what are those things that you really do value that you want to make sure you're placing the right expectations on, and what are those things that maybe you have certain expectations on now that like maybe don't need it.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm just kind of like going about my life without like, I can't say I actively think about my expectations about things a lot, which is really interesting.
I also though would kind of challenge you on that like it's okay to not have this like deep self-awareness about every single thing, because then it's like you're probably gonna just like end up overthinking it.
Exactly.
I also want to like challenge in a different way of
we just love to challenge.
We're all like trying to be so respectful this time. It's because you used the word challenge in your title that now we're like, I'm going to challenge you on that.
I'm gonna name it. I'm gonna pick on myself with my expectations. So challenge was the healthy word to choose. But I also wonder if expectations maybe isn't the right word for you though, because maybe I categorize stuff as I have expectations or I put that in that bucket.
Yeah.
For you, it might be so much simpler of like a measure that you've given yourself of just like, what do I want to get out of it?
Yeah.
And it might be more of that thought process and less on the word expectations.
Totally.
Because I do feel like you are a person who reflects and is like, oh, like I'm starting this new job, like I want to do well at it. That's an expectation you set on yourself kind of thing.
For sure.
But you probably, hopefully positively frame it in your mind versus like picking the like expectation word.
Yeah. Sorry, do you have anything to add?
No. She's just sitting there reflecting on all her
You're like,
expectations.
honestly.
Yeah, now my head is like going
Sorry.
through. Like, no, that's okay. That's good.
What was your actual original question?
Do you feel like in like the big life moments that are happening in your world right now that you've had to like skew and alter, or like at times have you tailored your expectations to try and go one way?
Okay. Sorry, do you have something you want?
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
As you just said it again, like it kind of came up for me of like, because I think I was thinking about like my whole life in general, and that was like too much for me to think about, that my brain just like stopped. But then you just reminded me by saying that again, that we were talking about like our specific kind of like big things in life right now. So, which for me is like starting a new role, like transitioning this new like parenthood, working mom, whatever. And so I think a lot of it before I was kind of in it is like I had expectations of like, oh, I can just do it all. Like I can work and be like this boss, whatever, and do all of these things, and I'll still be able to work out all the time. I'll be a great mom and spend all of this time. I'll see my friends all the time. Like I will do all of these things. In an ideal world, yeah, that would be awesome, but that's simply not reality. And then I kind of had to check myself and be like, because then I was like stressing myself out about, oh, well, you're not going to get to do these things. And it's like, but that's okay. Like you're in this phase of life. Let's focus on the things you can prioritize, the things you want to do. So I think that was an expectation I had of myself of like, and I do that a lot. I think that actually is like a big like theme. Before I was like, I have nothing. Now I'm like, okay, here we go.
Sometimes you need to reframe a question
but I think,
have it job.
Yeah, like now that I'm thinking about it, I think I like place a lot of expectations on myself of like, you have to do everything and like do it at 150%. And like, I put that on myself of like, if I don't, that's like a failure or it's like bad on me. When in reality, that's like not the case. But I think, I put a lot of maybe it's less of expectations on others. I put it more on myself, I think.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, that's its own beast in itself, is expectations on ourselves.
One of the things I was gonna say, but it just like is very aligned with what you just said, is that like I am very much a perfectionist in a lot of ways to myself. And I feel like that's like where a lot of your expectations come up. And also I'm not trying to like diagnose or be like, and this is how it is for you. But I think just from what you just said, and then obviously just knowing you for a long time, I feel like also something that like might I don't know if this happens like consciously for you, but I feel like people could relate to this, is that like once you start doing something, I feel like you like put that on your identity that like you need to keep doing it. So it's like if you are working out 5 days a week, then it's like if you have to shorten that to 3, it's not this easy, like, oh, I don't have time for that anymore. It's like, oh, I've fit
always
person,
done this. Yeah.
And now if I stop doing that, I'm not fit anymore.
100%.
Or like whatever.
100%. I totally do that. And like I do that for myself all the time of like, you've always done these things that I keep adding and changing my life and all of these other things come with it. And I can't, like, no one can like.
Well, and it's like, how boring would your life be if it was still the way it was when you were like 19 or something?
Yeah, you'd be so over it by now.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, over to you now that I've actually realized I do have expectations.
Well, but it's good to like frame it that way, because I'm sure there's also people listening who are like, no, I don't really put a lot of expectations on other people, and then they're like, oh wait, I'm putting them all on myself. Excuse me. So yeah, I would say like the perfectionist thing for me comes up a lot with like expectations, is that I'm very like, oh, I'm gonna get to this point in my career by this time, and if I don't, I've failed. Like in that way, I'm very black and white. I've had a lot of like, I think something in the past that I've really struggled with, just like in different ways, is like where I'm at in life, like my life timeline. I don't consciously have expectations, but then when something like goes wrong, or if I get a little off track, or I feel like I'm behind, that has like historically caused me a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety. And I know it's because I have these subconscious expectations on where my life is supposed to be by certain ages or certain milestones or whatever. So that is like, just like generally speaking, I will say with like going into motherhood, even what we were talking about at the beginning with it now changing to a C-section and whatever, I've definitely had to challenge myself, and it has been a really good learning curve for me that I'm not perfect at by any means, but I do think that I've gotten like, I'm doing better than I have in the past with things, that I've had to be like, you don't know what this is about to be, so you can't you like stop designing it, and also like you can't put on yourself what is going to be right or perfect or good, because you have no idea how your baby's going to be. You have no idea how you're going to be as a mom. You have no idea like what this experience is going to be. So I do actually think that going into this chapter, very easy said and done.
You're like, I'm going to have no expectations.
Like I clearly obviously do, and I'm trying to be better. And I feel like right now I don't feel as stressed as I've been with other life transitions. Once I'm there, I know it's coming. I know those expectations.
But that's good to like be in that moment for now, and like that's okay if it doesn't stay.
Yeah.
But like you're trying and you're like actively being aware of it.
And I will say that that's also very much because the people around me, and sorry, just because you're not a mom, I'm not pointing at you, but like, and with Alyssa and like other like new moms that I like work with or know or whatever, because there has been such a narrative shift in the world around like, yeah, sometimes you don't want to be with your kids and that doesn't make you a bad mom, or like, yeah, things are hard, or like, yeah, things don't come naturally or whatever. I think that has like allowed me to feel like I can have that grace.
Yes.
Whereas like when our moms were raising us, it was like, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're the bad mom.
Should be the most natural thing ever.
Like that's horrible.
Yeah.
So I think that that's also like part of it, is if you're in an environment where it's like, for me, I don't need to be perfect, or I don't think other people did it perfectly, or that like, I guess it also comes down to a lot of comparison for me. So,
which you have said in previous episodes is something you
I'm
have struggled
such a comparer. It's horrible.
But,
yeah.
Well, I love that you're feeling actually like, because you have said in prior episodes that's something that you do recognize you've struggled with. So the fact that you're even proactively tackling the comparisons, kudos to you. That's hard in itself. So
Yeah, and I mean, like, who knows? Talk to me in a week, but
talk to you after baby's here, and we'll see.
Yeah, I'll be like, I'm horrible. I'm not doing it perfect.
And we'll be there to tell you you're doing just fine. And I love that both of you, without me even prompting it, talked about expectations on ourselves, because I think that's also super big.
Yeah.
And I think, like, you were saying life stages, and like one that comes to my mind, and like we all laugh about it, but like seriously, when I was 18, I thought I'd be like married 20 or engaged. I had an engaged timeline. Engaged 23, Married, 24.
Oh.
Somehow I'm also buying a house at 25 after all those things.
Oh, yep.
And then I'm popping the first kid out at 26. That was truly my timeline. I am 29. Want to know what I don't have? I do have a fiance. I have not had a wedding yet. I have not had a baby. I have not bought a home.
Do you want to know something crazy?
What?
You guys both probably know this, but I'll just like share this for the listeners. When Anthony and I started dating, I was 25. And when we started dating, he was very upfront early on that he's like, not immediately, and maybe not with you because we've just met, but he's like, I know that I want to get married and have kids. And I remember being like, yeah, I want to for sure get married. I don't know if I want to have my own kids. I might want to adopt. And literally the reason why is because I felt like I was so behind that if I was meeting my partner at 25, I wouldn't have enough time to date them for however long I wanted to, get engaged, get married, and then by the time I was having kids, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be so old. I would rather adopt so that I can adopt a kid that's like a couple years old so that it keeps me on the same timeline, so that it would have been like I had kids earlier. That I was like, oh, I don't know. And we literally like broke up over that. And then obviously got back together and are having a baby, and it's fine, and the timeline is what doesn't matter.
No.
But also has worked out perfectly. But I think that like this town we live in also skews things crazy.
Yes.
Because there are so many people that we went to high school with that literally were having their like third kid at 21. So like that is a big part of it as well. But like it is so crazy when you are in your mid-20s and you're starting to see people that have already got married and have had multiple kids and whatever, and you're like, I'm too old now.
Well, and the actual reality of it, and this is not for this is not the case for all, and there are so many successful relationships I don't want to discredit, but I guarantee you if we actually surveyed the amount of people who got married before 25, how many of them are still married at 40?
Well, also like,
you don't know who you are. You have not developed your identity, and it's great if you can do that with your partner, and I love that, and like absolutely you can.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Most times, unless you have that kind of relationship within your marriage, that's the ones that's like, okay, great, I might be getting married at 30, but you're getting divorced at 30, so really which one of us is in a worse spot? And not to say either is bad. Okay.
And period.
No. I know what you're saying. I was just
like, I don't mean that in a mean way to the...
Well, but I think like tying it back to your expectations thing is like for some people that works and that's okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like,
but
just because
do
it
it 'cause
works
it's an
for some
expectation.
people doesn't mean you need to put that expectation on yourself that then you have to have that, and if you don't have that on that exact on that exact timeline, and if it doesn't look exactly like that, then you've failed or you're behind or whatever.
Well, and I'll even say like with the divorce thing to like
Soften
that comment.
Soften the blow a bit.
It's also like I think people also have these like big expectations of like, once I get married, that's it, and it doesn't matter if things are not working or whatever, that like I can't change that. And then people end up also in like miserable relationships because they were with somebody who was a completely different person, or they are themselves a completely different person, and then they're like, well, I have to stick it out because divorce is a failure, or like whatever it is. And it's like, that's again, it's like an expectation you've put on yourself or on your relationship.
But in reality, divorce might be the best thing for you. It might be a very expensive decision that you had to go through the full process to get there, but maybe it was the best thing for you.
Well, and like, I'm sure we all know like people in our personal lives who have gotten divorced that it's like, wow, don't you wish you did that sooner?
Yeah.
Like that was the right choice.
Totally.
Yes. I just gestured like it was Taylor. She is
It's
not
not me.
divorced.
Not me. I don't want to be divorced to Tyler, and I am not divorced.
No.
All happy in relationships here.
Totally.
But yes, know people, and it's like,
Yeah.
There's actually somebody that I know who just broke off an engagement, and I was just talking to her about it, and like was saying to her, she was like, obviously there's like this embarrassment and whatever when I like did it, and like she's like, I was so thankful my family was supportive and whatever. But I was talking to her and I was like, oh my God, don't you just feel so proud of yourself though, that you made this decision that's like doesn't follow what you're supposed to be doing or whatever. And she was like, yeah, and honestly, she's like, I probably could have broken it off like months earlier, but I had this thing of being like, no, I've already committed to this. We've already picked a venue. I've already said yes. I wear the ring. Like we're doing it all. And like, it's just like there's this balance, I feel like, kind of with everything we're talking about, of like expectations on other people, expectations on yourself, and then expectations that you are putting on yourself because of a narrative that you think is out there or one that actually is.
Totally. That makes me think of, and I'm gonna just so we don't pick on our own couples relationships or anything, but I think of Paige DeSorbo from Summer House, and I've just recently watched all of Southern Charm and all of Summer House for the season, and like watching the fallout of her and Craig's relationship, like she's one of those girls that you can clearly see like in her heart she knew exactly what to do quite a while ago, but again, because of the expectations and because of the pressure and also like being in your face a bit more about it, like she totally altered it, and like you see that all play throughout both shows. Clear as day. Like, as an observer, I'm like, girl didn't want to be in the relationship. She made that very clear.
Yeah.
But being in it, you don't. So,
Yeah.
just as a funny kind of tie back. So lately I've also, in the note of expectations, lately I've been having a lot of fun with ChatGPT. We're gaining a relationship. We're learning how to communicate.
Okay, love
And
it.
so I thought I'd utilize my good friend. Yes?
Okay, I just recently was also editing whatever episode it was where you were talking about the tarot card thing, and we didn't do it.
Oh,
so we need to remember.
Actually, do you want to know the outcome of that? I let Taylor read my tarot card reading, and her Alexis and I had a very deep heart to heart about it.
So maybe another day.
Got down. We should do ours though.
Yes, seriously, if nobody's in a rush after this, like actually though, because it's
let's
crazy.
do it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yes, I'm using ChatGPT for tarot card readings for everything. I am AI now. But
Okay.
I
Has that on her tombstone as well.
quick and easy AI.
I mean, that is kind of like a good
What AI
slogan for AI.
Yeah. But anyway, so I kind of was trying to think of like tangible advice or ways to like fix or like help your expectations. There's not a lot of like actual studies done where I could pull any data from. I was trying to I spent time, guys. I searched and there's just nothing that was like tangible enough to actually bring back and put on the internet.
Sam is doing like peer-reviewed studies.
Literally.
So I did a case study.
Literally.
And it came out that there was actually
And it came out that
nothing we
ChatGPT
could
was
do.
going to give me this in 2 seconds. So why did I spend so much time trying to find actual data points?
Yeah.
So this is not based on data. This is fully AI generated, but I actually was quite baffled. Not baffled, because I know it gives fine advice, hence tarot card reading.
I love how also you're like, there's no data. Here's what
Here's
it said.
facts.
Yeah, here are some facts it gave. Like, he probably just made.
It's like, I don't know, here's generic advice.
It's like, what I know about you, here's what you think will be good enough to appease you to not do any more
I'm giving
research.
myself my own advice through AI.
Yeah. It's
Literally.
like, just give this to her and she'll stop looking.
It's like, we don't need to hear 900 more searches.
Yeah.
And
Like,
I kept asking it to tweak things. AI and I were, I spent a lot of time with this.
Sam was like, can you rewrite that to say this?
I'm like, actually change all the wording. But I thought I'd share actually the 6 suggestions it did give, because I was like, okay, you know what? Don't hate it.
Okay, get out your notebooks.
1, adopt a good enough mindset, especially for weddings, careers, and parenting.
Good
I didn't
enough.
prompt it actually specified that. Now, the good enough sounds a bit aggressive, but it says there's a growing rejection of perfectionism, which is called the anti-hustle or anti-perfection movement. Many are embracing authenticity and imperfection, particularly on social media, so it's encouraging. Which I laugh because we actually basically talked about exactly that.
Yep.
2,
Can I just add one thing? Sorry to that first one. One of the biggest mindset shifts I feel like I've had, not recently, like in months, but like over the last couple of years, is it literally doesn't matter. And I feel like that ties into that, like, it's good enough. It's like, yeah, just make that choice, or
It's not
just
that serious.
whatever. Yeah,
I think it's not
like
that
in a
serious as
positive
it's
way.
Yeah.
It's like nothing matters.
Yeah. We've had many
We all live
conversations
on
about
a rock that
Yeah.
you're good.
And for me, that's encouraging. I know for some people that's like disheartening, but I've been able to put it in a way that's like, yeah, great,
Yeah.
do
you
whatever.
put so much pressure on it.
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
that. 2, design life transitions. Don't just survive them. So, that feels
Sometimes
opposite to me.
I was gonna say sometimes you just gotta survive it.
But I think it's more so meaning, like, survival is often how expectations aren't met, whereas if you're going into it intentionally, not expectations, but if I'm like, say for example, my wedding, I'm going into it intentionally. I know I want to have a good day. That's an intention.
Yeah,
I'm designing
true.
how the day will go.
Okay.
The expectations are, okay, photography is going to be done on time. Dinner's, like, that's the expectation piece.
That's fair. I feel like in the same way that I just said, oh, some people might hear nothing matters in a disheartening way. I feel like trying to design a situation for me would be too much, that then I'd be like,
fair.
I'm trying to plan it.
See, my ChatGPT knows me, so.
But again, I feel like this is exactly what we've been talking about the whole time, is like, it's so different person to person.
Totally.
And you have to just figure it out.
So really, this episode, we're not much help to, because
Well, we're giving you lots of different perspectives for you to land on.
And also, if
Tasing,
you want your
just
advice
turn
from
this
your own
off.
hand,
Don't worry about it.
use your own AI to develop your own coping mechanisms.
Exactly.
Perfect.
That's on you. That's an expectation we're putting on you.
So we've gotten through 2 of 6.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's go.
3, expect the unexpected and build margin for it. So allow there to be the unexpected, create space for there being the unexpected and it being okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love that.
For example, an example I'd actually give for this one was post-COVID, people are more aware that life is unpredictable. Mental flexibility is a huge piece of well-being now,
Yes.
which I think that's just a nice call out. 4, let go of highlight reel comparisons.
No.
So if it might look good for 2 seconds in a highlight reel, it doesn't mean that the people are living their best lives.
Yep.
Which
Totally.
helps the comparison piece of it.
Which is obviously so obvious on social, but I feel like it's also a good reminder that, like, even in real life, unless you're like very close to somebody or they're explicitly telling you, they're also probably kind of
Telling you
sharing.
the highlight reel.
Only the highlight reels.
Not what, and they're not going to be sharing what.
Yeah, when you
expectations
say
they
to
have.
like someone that you don't know that well, how are you doing? They're probably gonna just say,
Good.
I'm good.
Yeah. Or they might highlight something positive they think you want to hear,
Yeah.
such as like, oh, I'm great. I had a really great nail appointment today. Awesome. Well, the rest of your day may not have been great.
You're
but
like,
that's the piece
Their
of
life
it.
is perfect. They had a good nail appointment.
I'm like, my nails look like crap after mine. No, never. Not where we go. Love our nail people, but 5, prioritize mental health over milestones. So I feel like that ties into a little bit of the like timeline stuff we were talking
Oh,
about.
yes.
Your mental health matters more than your timeline.
Yeah.
So nurture your mental health. The timeline will just play out regardless. That you actually have no control over.
Very relatable.
And this one I found really interesting actually is number 6 was create your version of tradition. So we didn't really talk about like expectations around traditions, like Christmas is a tradition, for example, like that kind of stuff. And that is another
That's
area
a big one.
I struggle in.
Yeah.
And I honestly dread 99% of holidays. Like I do not find holiday times fun in any way.
I feel like it's so, it's like the universal experience for New Year's Eve.
Yes.
That everyone, like, there's a certain period of your life where you're like, New Year's Eve is going to be like the best party, it's going to be the best night, blah, blah. And then it's like always, like, in my opinion, like anytime that we've actually like gone out for New Year's Eve or like had a house party or whatever, it's like always the worst night.
Yeah, it's never
like,
that good.
It's
I
like,
just like want to be in bed. Like I'm like I don't
Yes.
want to stay up until midnight and a loud
well,
party.
yeah, and like now, I'm like, I don't even go till midnight. Like, it doesn't matter to me,
New Year's Eve happens at 10 p.m.
literally. But like, that's such a good one.
Yeah, I never even thought about like tradition. There's so much.
Yeah, and so I really like that of being like deliberately like designing what you want for your traditions as well. Like traditions are not like my Christmas does not look anything like your guys' Christmas. My Easter celebrations, especially now that you guys have kids, like we are not all gonna have the same Easter Sundays. My Easter Sundays look quite different, but you know what? You get to have these cute moments with your kids that you've raised. That's great. But if I start to compare my Easters to yours without joining yours, which I mean that also is probably something I'll end up doing eventually because Easter egg hunts, why not? But so it's just like things like that. So I think I don't know, I found those 6 things very interesting and like just like little thought-provoking thoughts around expectations to like reconsider.
That tradition one also, this is like a whole different tangent, so I don't really want to get like fully into it because this could be like its own episode. But that is something that has recently come up with my extended family a lot recently, as like people are aging and things are changing and whatever, is that there's been this very clear divide, I guess, but also just like us as the like child generation have learned some things about the like grandparent generation of how they feel about how our traditions have changed, especially with people living far away from each other. And it's just very interesting that it's like we've been kind of protected from it because my family lives very far away compared to like the rest of my family, but that there's just like it's like learning expectations that are being put on you that you don't even know about. Like that's like a whole other rabbit
Let's talk
hole.
wedding ones with that.
Oh,
I thought
yeah,
my poor mom, and I'm gonna out her on this one, the look on her face when I told her I wasn't doing a garter for my wedding because I just simply don't need my husband going up my dress. It's just not my thing at the wedding.
Yeah.
She was like
You didn't
shocked.
do
She's
it.
like, it's tradition. I was like, not mine.
Very good.
And
Might be
also-
your tradition, but it's not mine.
Also, it's like, yeah, at one point tradition was like hunting a tiger.
Yeah.
Like,
True.
You know what? At one point, tradition was, the woman had to give birth to the child. She stayed home for the next 18 years. That tradition is gone. We have evolved in the best ways, in most ways, but like if we're gonna go back to traditions back when garters were a thing, we're going back like a couple decades.
yeah, like, yeah, it's
And it's
so-
great for some people. Like some
Yeah.
people want to do
You
that.
love
but
it,
that
you love
doesn't,
it.
again,
Not my
mean-
tradition.
Yeah,
I'm
you need to
designing
do
my
it.
tradition. It is not that.
Yeah.
I think that is one really good thing about like the millennial generation is that there is a lot more like, okay, it's great that you've done it that way always. Like, I'm not going to, whether it's with wedding stuff or with traditions or with
Raising your family.
yes, yeah, like, and especially, I mean, honestly, I'm sure there's like comparisons in any like region or whatever, but I feel like for all three of us having very like prairie families, like a few generations back, it's just like the joke in my family always is like, oh, you're coming back to the farm, like whatever. And it's like, yeah, thank God, like that's not the expectation anymore, because for most generations of my family, that has been the case. It's like, you get gifted a quarter section when you get married, and then you farm until your parents die on the farm, and then you take over that land, and
And then
then
you pass that on
it
to your
just keeps
kids.
going, like whatever. And it's like, thank God.
I don't want
That's
to go
not
to
the case
farmland. Not my vibe.
Not my vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
So we respect farmers.
We love them. Not our vibe. But yeah, so that was kind of just everything that's been on my mind lately, with expectations specifically. I have a lot of work to do in like helping kind of work through a lot of the stuff I talked about today. Like talking about it is the first step, fixing it is the really hard second step that I will have to then tackle.
Yeah.
But I figure there's at least got to be one other person out there who's dealing with the controversial expectation pendulum that I live in right now. So
Can I ask you one question, just to like
totally.
maybe have something tangible for you? What is like one thing? And I think it would probably be easier if it's not wedding related, but that's like coming up right away that you feel like you could find that gray zone of expectation.
So like I feel like my brain for myself is 95% consumed by weddings. So all of a sudden I'm like, well, nothing else is happening.
But like with work or with like your relationship or like what you're doing this weekend or something. I'm the reason why I said like probably not wedding is because like I feel like
It's a little, that's like too big of a.
well, I just want you to think of maybe something that's like lower stakes.
I guess actually I'm in the middle of working through it right now, but where you have like a pretty big project happening at work right now, and there have been moments where I've let it like stress me out way more than my role in it needs to be stressed out. And so I think I've been really working on the expectations that I'm putting on myself in it, and like how involved I'm allowing myself to like emotionally feel to the situation.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's one that I've been like, I did go to the aggressive one side, and now I've kind of tried to pull myself out through like talking through it with people and like help from friends and all of that.
Yeah.
So I guess I can't obviously say it's a project, but that's kind of the thing that's top of mind right now is I'm like, I feel, and that's like with, like this project's a good example, but I do feel like that's with a lot of things in my life. Like there is a lot of stuff happening like personally that I don't really want to dive into totally. And then there's like work chaos. So I think for me, my expectations around my role in a lot of chaos that's not my chaos is that gray area right now where I'm trying to kind of pull myself out of it. So not there, but I think that's like
You're like
something
aware of it and trying to figure it out.
Bringing awareness. It's the first step. Like I said, the hard work's actually dealing about it after, but right now we're just talking about it.
That's all you can do.
And that's why we have a podcast.
I find it quite helpful to talk. I mean, I've had many breakthroughs on this couch, especially in the last few episodes, let me tell you.
I think we all have, honestly.
Great reflection.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with that is a wrap.
Bye! It is so hot.